Before a single jar is filled, cookie butter begins its life here, as oceans of wheat harvested with mechanical precision.
This wheat will become flour, the backbone of the crisp biscuits that are later ground into irresistibly smooth cookie butter.
At the same time, every other key ingredient begins its own journey toward the world's largest cookie butter plant.
From sugar-rich roots to liquid oils, each component is sourced in bulk to keep this factory's lines running day and night. Neutral vegetable oils will later be carefully blended, giving cookie butter its signature silky, spoon-ready texture.
Dozens of such convoys converge on a single destination, a sprawling complex built to turn biscuits into millions of jars of spread.
Purpose-baked biscuits are tuned for flavor, crunch, and fat content, optimized not for dipping, but for grinding into a smooth, spoonable paste.
Baked, cooled, and lot-coated, biscuits leave the ovens not for store shelves, but for a second life across the yard, as the heart of cookie butter. With pallets of biscuits arriving at the intake bay, the journey finally crosses into the cookie butter factory itself.
Inside the intake bay, bulk biscuits move from warehouse logistics to the strict, controlled environment of food-grade processing. Every pallet is identified, traced, and prepared for unloading, ensuring each crumb in the jar can be tracked back to its bake.
From loose biscuits to a controlled stream, the line gently guides product toward the first machines that will begin to break it down.
Screening separates perfect grind-sized pieces from oversized fragments, sending only consistent crumbs forward to become spread.
Before grinding, sensitive detectors search for any stray metal, protecting both equipment and the millions of spoons that will dip into each jar. With safety checks completed, the stream is cleared to enter buffered storage, smoothing out the constant rhythm of the world's biggest cookie butter line.
Here, gravity and gentle screws accumulate a stable reserve, ensuring the grinders below never starve, even when forklifts or trucks pause.
A rotary valve at the base turns gravity's chaos into a perfectly measured flow, ready for exact dosing into the heart of the process.
Gas flow is locked into the kilogram, feeding a steady river of biscuit into the sealed hull, where true transformation begins. Past the controlled intake and sorting, the biscuit stream now enters the core of the factory, where hard crunch will be engineered into velvety spread.
In seconds, whole biscuits are shattered and entrained in air, turning solid crunch into a fine, flowable biscuit flour.
Cyclones strip powder from air, separating the edible from the invisible, and feeding a calm, measured flow into the blending system below.
Precisely weighed biscuit flour and crystal sugar converge in large ribbon blenders, building the sweet backbone of the cookie butter base.
Ribbons lift, fold, and sweep, transforming separate streams into a homogeneous, flavor-tuned cookie crumb blend. Measured oil streams soak into the dry matrix, the first step in binding millions of tiny crumbs into a continuous, spreadable body.
In jacketed premix tanks, the oil-soaked crumbs are given time and motion, primed to accept sugar syrups that will define sweetness and body. Liquid sugar and controlled heat coax the crumbs into a unified paste, a proto-cookie butter ready for further refinement. A first pass through coarse colloid mills shaves down particle size, smoothing the paste without yet reaching the silky finish of the final product.
With a stable cookie paste streaming through stainless arteries, the process crosses into its main transformation stage.
Multi-stage colloid mills subject the paste to intense shear, shaving down particle size until each spoonful feels luxuriously smooth on the tongue.
Once the last coarse grains are tamed, the line chases not just texture, but the tiny air bubbles that could dull flavor and shelf life.
Precise doses of emulsifiers and carefully balanced spices are folded in under controlled temperature, locking aroma and stability into the cookie butter matrix. Controlled heating through scraped surface exchangers pasteurizes the spread, eliminating microbes while preserving the gentle caramelized notes of the baked biscuits.
Staged cooling sets the cookie butter's internal structure, tuning it so it won't separate on the shelf or run off your spoon on a warm day.
By splitting and recombining flows, the same line can produce silky smooth and satisfyingly crunchy cookie butters with only a few extra moves of stainless steel.
Final buffers act as a breathing space, smoothing out flow so that downstream fillers see only a calm, steady river of perfectly conditioned cookie butter.
Through sealed lines and hygiene airlocks, the finished cookie butter crosses into the cleanest part of the factory, where steel and
With texture, flavor, and structure perfected, the cookie butter reaches the filler bowl, ready for the plant's high-tech.
high above the tanks and grinders, a wall of screens forms the factory's nervous system, orchestrating every kilogram of cookie butter with code and sensors.
Recipe software defines exact set points for biscuit, sugar, and oil, turning human flavor decisions into automated commands for steel and silicon to follow.
Automated hoppers and slide gates meter every component by the gram, feeding downstream mixers without a single scoop lifted by hand.
Drill. A labyrinth of automated valves silently switches paths, steering warm cookie paste through stainless arteries.
Resins. Sensors perched atop each tank constantly report fill level and temperature, feeding a live picture of the cookie butter. Inline sensors and smart valves close the control loop, adjusting flow and temperature in real time, so every
Behind protective panels, PLCs turn field signals into decisions, coordinating thousands of on-off commands.
Automated CIP skids flush and sanitize entire lines without a hose lifted, recording every temperature and contact time.
Every kilowatt, kilogram of steam, and cubic meter of air is counted and tied to batches, letting the factory tune efficiency by algorithm instead of intuition.
From servers to switches to field devices, a hidden digital backbone ties every sensor, valve.
Beneath the digital backbone, the precision of the finishing hall takes over, where every gram of cookie butter is measured into its glass home.
Servo-driven pistons and bottomized fills minimize air and foam. Dynamic check weighers catch even tiny drifts, gently removing outliers so that only perfectly filled jars advance toward final closure.
Instead of waste, off-target jars are corrected and fully traced, each one brought back into spec before meeting the steel choreography of the capping turrets. Rotary cappers apply just enough force to seal without cracking, logging the torque of every lid so that freshness and safety are literally tightened into place.
An invisible field heats inner seals through the cap, creating a tamper-evident barrier that protects aroma and texture long after the jar leaves the line. High-speed labelers marry graphics to glass with millimeter precision, ensuring every jar carries its story, ingredients, and brand without a wrinkle.
Non-contact coders and smart cameras give every jar a legible identity, making it possible to trace quality.
Non-contact coders and smart cameras give every jar a legible identity, making it possible to.
From the finishing line, selected jars head straight to the quality lab, where instruments and human senses will decide. Inside the quality lab, each production run becomes a numbered specimen, logged and examined before the factory is allowed to ship a single pallet. Cap torque, seal integrity, and surface appearance are checked first. Simple numbers and visual cues.
Color and microscopic texture are matched to a golden signature, so every batch looks and feels the same to the eye long before anyone takes a taste. Instruments measure how the spread will flow from jar to spoon, ensuring it's neither too stiff on a cold morning nor too runny on a hot afternoon.
Microbiological tests run in parallel to the day's production, confirming that pasteurization and hygiene kept unwanted life out of the jars.
Accelerated aging and stress tests reveal how the spread and its packaging behave weeks or months down the line, long before consumers ever twist a lid.
Packaging integrity tests ensure that the protective barrier stays tight through pressure swings and jolts, so cookie butter arrives exactly as it left the line. Even with perfect numbers, human palates have the final say, confirming that each batch still tastes like the cookie butter people fell in love with. When lab data, sensory scores, and packaging checks all align, quality releases the batch in the system. With the batch officially cleared, QA's green tag turns static stacks of jars into saleable stock.
Released batches move into towering high bay racks, each pallet scanned into its exact location so the system always knows where every jar waits.
Warehouse software mirrors the physical grid, updating in real time as new pallets roll in from the packaging lines and take their place in the matrix.
Before reaching storage, each pallet is wrapped tight, stabilizing towers of jars and shielding labels from dust as they ride conveyors and forklifts.
Robotic palletizers read virtual layer patterns and build perfectly stable loads, each face labeled and aligned for scanners and human eyes alike. Individual jars are grouped into sturdy cartons, each stamped with batch and time codes so entire shipping units can be traced as easily as a single jar. Every carton carries its own digital passport, letting warehouse systems and customer depots know exactly what's in each box and where it's headed next. Finished pallets flow seamlessly from palletizers into the warehouse, where scanners and software guide every movement according to live customer orders. Inventory is managed in pick faces arranged for FIFO, making it easy to assemble mixed loads that respect both shelf life. With pallets staged and doors rolling open, the factory stands at the threshold between controlled storage and the With pallets staged and doors rolling open, the factory stands at the threshold between controlled storage and the load by load. Finished cookie butter moves from static stacks on the floor into the dark bellies of trailers bound for distribution centers. Each pallet carries a unique shipping code, scanned again at the dock, so the load plan and physical reality stay perfectly synchronized. Guided by the manifest, pallets are packed into designated spots, building dense, stable loads that will resist. Mechanical bars and straps turn stacked pallets into a single, unified block, checked against a plan so nothing shifts unseen beyond the dock doors.
With the last door sealed and numbers logged, responsibility for the cargo shifts from the warehouse floor to the highway stretching far beyond the factory fence.
Loaded vans and ocean containers roll away from the doors in cadence, while rows of untouched pallets remain inside, ready to answer tomorrow's orders.
From here, logistics and roads take over, carrying tightly packed towers of jars toward distribution centers, where
one last identity check at the gate links trailer, seal, and manifest. Then the load is cleared to leave the controlled orbit of the factory for the open road.
And this is how modern factories produce cookie butter from biscuit to spread, from start to finish. From fields.
From above, the cookie butter factory reveals itself as a single living system, where raw harvests, precise